Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. My power hammer is broken. Today we need to fix it. But let me tell you what's going on. This is a 1927 Little Giant power hammer. The reason I know it's a 1927 is because you can still call up Little Giant, the company, and talk to Dave and ask him, when was my power hammer made? If you give him the serial number, he'll be able to find the records, when it was made, where it was originally sold, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Not only do they provide information on your particular hammer, they also provide parts and support for maintaining and rebuilding these machines. How cool would it be though if they actually started making hammers again? I wonder what that would take. But I digress. This hammer was making some noise recently as I was forging a bunch of knives, per usual. I kept hearing sort of a clinking or tinking sound that I thought maybe was some kind of a shim, something that was loose, that was clear, but I could not find where in the machine, somewhere in this assembly, the noise was coming from. Eventually, about a week into this, a piece of metal fell out on the floor. Now, anytime a piece of metal falls out on the floor, that's typically not a good thing because it could be something important. This is the piece that fell out. I got to looking at it, and lo and behold, it appears to be a half-round piece of steel, and there is a layer of welded material, arc welded material, or some form like that, around the outside, and that appears to be what failed and cracked, and that's why this piece ended up on the floor instead of staying in the hammer. But there's a problem here because there's nothing in here that's supposed to be cobbled together out of a piece of half-round steel. Now it appears this is the typical mill scale finish on the steel, and then over here it's been ground down to finish down these welds. And this is not a standard part to this hammer. Now where this ended up coming off of was the T portion of one of these toggle links here, which is actually on this side, but I'm showing you this side so I can explain what a toggle link is. This right here is the ram, and it goes all the way through the ram guides, of course, and it moves up and down as the hammer operates, and it is completely controlled by these toggle links, one on each side. There's a hefty, it's about an inch round piece of steel here. It's threaded on this end, and it goes into the ram, and it's got a T just like this, and that's what holds everything together. This came off of the right-hand T. Now, I don't think it takes a degree in mechanical engineering to realize that this is probably not original and probably not a good idea. I don't know who did this. I don't think it was the guy I bought the hammer from. The problem with these hammers, among other things, is that there's usually multiple owners decades back. Obviously, this hammer is 100 years old, and who knows when this was done or who did it. And I'm not looking to blame anybody, but for goodness sake, if you're gonna fix or rebuild something on an old piece of machinery that's intended to be used, do it right. So that's what I did. I called up Dave at Little Giant and told him my problem, and yeah, he's like, yeah, they're not supposed to be made out of pieces like that. And so I ordered a couple of toggle links from him, and that's what we're gonna put in today. All right, these are the toggle links, and as you can see, very similar, about, I think it's an inch round steel, it's threaded here. And then we've got these T's right here, which are a solid piece of steel, as you would expect, welded to the main portion of the toggle link. And they're gonna go in the hammer just like that. Now, this is what they're supposed to look like. I don't know why anybody would do this any different, but we're gonna pull them out, pull the old ones out, and get a little closer to see what's going on here. First thing we need to do is support the ram with this 2x4, and that'll relieve the tension or like weight on the toggle links enough to be able to remove this safely. And we've got a couple of nuts here to back off. Pretty greasy. Okay, I don't have the clearance to rotate this and get it out is the problem. How am I gonna fix that problem? Well, I guess I need to get this one out of the way. There we go. Okay, look at that. Woo-wee! Okay, there's the thingamajigger. Ah, what is going on? That's the other piece right here. So they made themselves a little, why would you do that? Why would you do it that way? I do not understand. Anyway, that weld failed, as you would expect. And this is all that was holding the ram on the one side there. And then you gotta wonder, what is all this stuff? Like, is this even solid? Anyway, we're gonna put a good one in. Yeah, I just don't understand, because I mean, if I had a lathe, I could have made this myself. This is the only, you know, but all this is a couple pieces of round stock welded together and threaded. I just don't know why you would do it the way this was done. It does not make sense to me, but we're gonna do it right. So this should be good to go for a long time. So I'm gonna do the other one here on the other side, so I'm not gonna put the spring in yet, because I'll do it when I switch out the other side. Now the hammer never actually quit working, but obviously it was only going to be a matter of time before that little bit of metal that was holding the ram on one side was going to give way, and that would have been bad. But anyway, we'll be back in business here shortly. Oh, I forgot the spring. Oops. Now, to properly set your toggle links in relation to the length of the hammer drop or whatever hammer swing, you want to have these be horizontal when the hammer is at full extension, meaning your words, your lettering at the flywheel here is completely horizontal. That's going to put you at the full extension of the hammer stroke without any thing holding the ram up. Now this also relates to the extension, or I should say the adjustment on the knuckle up here, but that's already set, and that was already set, and then these were adjusted to horizontal. So all I have to do is move these around a little bit until they're back to where they're supposed to be. And as you can see here, they are not adjusted correctly because additionally the clearance on the full drop of the hammer was about an inch, and then we've got almost 2 inches right now. So that's another indicator of where that's at. And it would appear that these toggle links are shorter than the original here, the ones that were in the hammer. But there should still be plenty of room to adjust them. Pretty good. All right, that should be all there is to it. Pretty quick, simple swap out of parts, and let's turn it on and see what happens. All right, well, it's working again. I am detecting some loose and floppiness in the where those T's are contacting the ram. And that is another fix-it project that you can send this ram off to Little Giant and they will fill that in and machine it out and make that pivot joint in there fit a little better. And that sounds like is what needs to happen on my hammer. And maybe that's why they had this hokey setup here where they made oversized T's on this toggle link to fit the ram that needed to be repaired and rebuilt in that particular joint. Well, mixed feelings here at the end of this, obviously, because of what we're observing. I still do not know why anyone would use a couple of pieces of half-round stock to make something like this when you could just get a larger piece of round stock, or even take a oversized piece and turn it down on a lathe. So that still doesn't make sense to me, but this is probably going to need to be worked on, and that pivot joint in there on either side filled in and machined out. That's my guess, but that's beyond the scope of today's video. I'm hoping it will still operate fine for me as is. The parts went in fine and they're fitting well, except for the ram itself is probably a little worn on those spots and probably needs some attention. So I'm a little bit sad about that. That is one drawback to these older hammers, is that you know, you don't know what's been done on them and you don't know how much use they've had, but they have had a long life, and so they're gonna have some amount of wear, but I think it's gonna be okay for now. We're gonna be able to use it like that, and maybe in the future I can pull the ram out and send it off. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get a second hammer, I guess, to use when this one's down. I don't know. Anyway, this is part of the joys, or just the day-to-day stuff of maintaining machinery for your business and building stuff. But anyway, we're gonna forge some knives, even if it does sound just a tad rattly. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. The ram is already worn to where it is. They've got new pivots, toggle links in there. It's just gonna have to be that way for a little bit. It's a integral part of my production at Fire Creek Forge now. So anyway, food for thought and things to think about and strategize and continue forward. And as always, appreciate you guys watching. If you want a super awesome handmade knife, you can go to my website, firecreekforge.com, and I'm always putting up new blades and new axes there. So that's the best way that you can support me in general in what I'm doing, and you get a really awesome tool out of the deal. So thank you again. We'll see you on the next video.